Hi everyone, it's Dakota. I want to send out well wishes. I hope that everyone is safe and well during this time of world crisis. It's a terrible situation, and I'm doing all I can on my end to promote health and well-being and to a quick end and resolve of the situation. So I hope everyone is safe and well. Today I want to talk a little bit about crystals, stones, however you want to call them, stones, minerals, etc. And this is sort of a tough subject for me to talk about because well, one, I have a metaphysical store, and we sell I have hundreds of different types of stones, crystals, gemstones, minerals. We have tumbled stones. We have raw stones. We have specimens. We have carved stones, shaped stones. You name it, we have it, and we have hundreds of different types of stones. And stones are our number one seller. So, but I am on this subject of stones over the past, I'm going to say 10 years, really has, I've kind of been on the fence with it. And here's why. So when I first started my path, I started with gemstones. I started with stones, with crystals and, amethyst, all the stones. And that's where I started. And I find through my store that is where a lot of people start their path, their journey. They're looking for something that's going to help them with love, romance, finance, health, addictions, you name it. And they always, it just seems like when they're first starting the path that gemstones is where we want to turn. Now, I'm going to tell you that I do absolutely believe in the energy of stones. I feel the energy of stones. Not all stones, but a good majority of the stones. And even though in my practice today, I don't work with stones the way that I used to work with stones. I mean, stones was just part of my every single thing that I did. It was just part of my practice. And but I still do use stones today. And I use it in my healing practice. Use it for chakras, gridding, that type of thing. So they're still a big part of my life. It's just that I don't use them the way that I used to use them. However, I will say this, I pretty much wear them every day. I always have my stones on, bracelets and sometimes pendants or whatever, rings. And so I'm into the energy of the stone. So I want to make sure that that you understand that I'm not saying anything about that. Where I'm going with this is that, as a witch, pagan, someone who practices safe environmental practices, trying to protect Mother Earth as much as I can, avoiding waste product and just, that type of thing. I get conflicted. I get conflicted with not only selling stones, but purchasing stones for my own use. Because let's face it, I mean, the stones don't just throw themselves out of the earth and say, here, catch me. We literally blow up the earth. We carve into her. We dig these enormous mines into Mother Earth to collect her insides, to collect what she holds within, the beauty within. And in other countries where a good majority of our stones come from, they do use child labor, and the people that do the mining, they're unsafe conditions, and they hardly get paid anything. And so the conditions of mining the stones weigh heavy on my heart as well. So all that being said and done, then why am I selling stones, and why am I still buying stones? And to be honest with you, I do not have the answer to that. I don't. So I'm owning that. I truly don't. I am on the fence. So, and we've had discussions about this in some of my groups. We've had discussions where, well, you know, they're there because Mother Earth, you know, wants you to discover them. And I don't know. You know, I don't know. But anyway, it's a whole other topic. But so I want to get to this. I want to get to where I'm going with this first. All right. I grabbed just a few stones that were just right here on these two tables right beside me to show you some of my big stones. One is, this is a fluorite. This is a piece of raw fluorite. I got it. Oh my gosh. I don't know. I probably got this maybe 8 years ago. And it's a piece of raw fluorite. And I'm drawn to stones. This right here, see, this has like this little groove in there. It's kind of hard to see, but this little groove in the stone, and it sits on my altar, and inside, or above my altar, and on a shelf. And inside this little hole is, I have a little stone Buddha, and he sits in there. And I love my fluorite. I just love that fluorite. Okay, the other thing I have, and this was gifted to me, is I have this beautiful piece of Celestite, blue, beautiful piece of Celestite that my friend gifted me. And you can see this one too has the little groove, little cavern cave right here, and it has one right here. And I love stones like that because I use them like maybe to sit another, like a crystal sphere on there, or sometimes I use the little caves to put stones in to charge them and everything. So this is the Celestite. I have this, which is my quartz generator. And let me see, I don't know if I can get it angled right for you to see, but in here, you might be able to see just a little bit right there. It's an enormous rainbow. It's absolutely beautiful. One of my favorite stones. So this is a quartz crystal, and my generator crystal. Now this stone is really awesome. This is a, I think it's called the Tricolor Calcite. Has the different colors, different colored calcite. It's calcite, Tricolor Calcite. But I wanted to show you this. See this big cavern right here? Let me put it against my shirt. You could probably see it better there. See this right here? Okay, so obviously that is, at least this is my thoughts on it, that this is probably from a drill or something where they were trying to get out the pieces, and the drill cut this and left this big groove in there. And this is a piece that came into my store not too long ago. And for whatever reason, I was really drawn, well, not for whatever reason, I was really drawn to it. And I know it's because of this, because I like these stones with these grooves in it. And when I brought this home, it's over on my little Buddha Reiki healing altar. And I have these purbas, which I would love to discuss in another video with you. These are purbas, and it fits just perfect. So it's flat here, so it sits on my altar, and the perba sits right in there. And I have a smaller perba as well, and would love to tell you all about the perba and what they're used for. And this sits on that as well. And so that was one of the reasons. It wasn't so much that I was drawn to the calcite, is that I was drawn to that little woody-doody thing, the little cavern thing. And then this is one of my favorite stones. This is black tourmaline. Has a little bit of mica in it. You can see the mica there. And I love black tourmaline. It is my cat. It is grounding for me. It is relaxing. It is a little bit of protection for me. It's a neutralizer, creates a balance. I just love tourmaline. I love working with black tourmaline. What I want to talk about is this. So I'll use my tourmaline. If you look up, and when I said this works as grounding for me, protection, sort of a neutralizer. I feel a balance when I hold this. But if we look in the book, if we look in a gemstone book, what does it say about black tourmaline? Does it say something different? Because my thing is, or let's take rose quartz, okay? I don't have rose quartz, but let's say that I'm not drawn to rose quartz. I don't. It's not my thing. I don't feel its energy. Rose quartz is pink. For those of you that don't know, it's pink. It is. We call it the love stone. Self-love, love of others. Earth love. It's for love. It's just love stone. I've used it before in spells for love of the earth. You know, nature love, that kind of thing, and have buried them and thrown them into the creek and stuff like that. But I'm not actually drawn to the energy of rose quartz. I don't ever work with it, except for maybe if I did a ritual or something like that where I wanted to use it for love of nature or earth or whatever. But if you, so who, okay, so here's where I'm going. So who said that rose quartz is the love stone? Where did that come from? I mean, where did that come from? Because I also sell several books, gemstone books, and I also have several books on stones here at the house, which I forgot to bring over here. And so, but what I'm saying is, I mean, I have read books, maybe not rose quartz, but I've read some books on different stones that actually have said different things. And just because the book says that the rose quartz is for love, if that isn't what you feel from the stone, then does that mean does that mean that you shouldn't get that stone? So if I'm looking for a stone for love, because like I said, I've got most of my books that I have will tell you that rose quartz is for love, all kinds of love. Okay, so and let's say that I'm in need of just, I've been through a bad time and I want some self-love, and I get the rose quartz, and I'm like, either hand, both hands, I hold it to my heart, whatever. And it feels, I feel nothing. I try another one. I feel nothing. I try another one. I feel nothing. Okay, is it that the rose quartz just doesn't resonate with me, period, and I need to find another stone that resonates with me on the love level? Because what if I picked up that rose quartz and I went, wow, this feels really feels very like a protective stone. Like this would protect me from negative energy, from negative energies. Energies that don't serve my highest good. How's that? Energies that don't serve my highest good. Is that, that's what I'm feeling. Oh, but it's for love. And everything's good. Like, my love life is great. I love myself. I've got friends. I've got family. La la. That's not really a lack. And when I hold this stone, I'm feeling a protective energy from it. Does that mean get the stone because it feels it's protective? When I'm saying, oh, but right here is Tourmaline or Black Obsidian. This is for protection. You should have this. This is for protection. I'm not feeling it. I just want to know who made up the list of what the stones are for. Because, I mean, was it the stone guru? Because if that's the case, then we all are stone gurus. And because we all feel stones differently, because we are energy, we vibrate at different frequencies. So therefore, if I vibrate at a 4 and you vibrate at a 7, and we pick up the same stone that says, the book says, this stone is for grounding, and we both pick up that stone, but we both get a different energy from it. I get the grounding energy from it, but you get a sense of love from it. Feels like love to you. Or I don't feel anything at all. So, in my opinion, and I have been in contact with a guy who he's a geologist, but he has a title. I can't remember his name or his title. Anyway, if I remember, I'll attach. He has a website. I'll attach that down at the bottom, but I'll look through my notes and see. Anyway, I asked him once about stones, and because he's only about, oh, you know, this stone is black tourmaline, and it's mined in such and such, and the striations on it are composed of yada yada yada, and it has this formation and that formation, and he's really only about the formation and the stone itself. But I had asked him once about the energies of the stones. I said, do you ever use the stones for healing? And it was like, no. He said, I don't buy into that. I said, so you don't buy into the energy of the stone, because it was a living, you know, this was a part of Mother Earth. It was a living entity. You know, it's a living being. And he said no. So he doesn't feel anything, nor does my husband. My husband feels nothing. There was a time, if you know anything about stones, I put a piece of moldavite, which is like, whoop, you know, high frequency. I put a piece of moldavite, a piece of a super 7, a piece of fulgurite, which is molded sand. When lightning hits sand, it melts the sand. Piece of fulgurite and something else I don't remember that was like this really, you know, high charged energy stones. I had him close his eyes first, and I put the stones in his hand and had him close his hand. All those stones in one hand, had him close his hand, had him close his hand and just said, you know, just relax and take a couple breaths in. And he was, you know, breathing in and breathing out. And I said, are you feeling anything in your hand? Do you have any sensation? Do you feel any frequency, hot, cold, vibrations, any kind of thing going on? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, I let him sit with it for a minute, and I go, are you feeling it still? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I do. And I go, what are you feeling? And he goes, rocks. he doesn't get it. You know, like he doesn't feel it. So it's really interesting about the different energies of stones, and even if they really do hold the energy. You know, I'm not going to contest that they don't, because I know that they do, because I just got done telling you this is one of my favorite stones for, it just makes me feel good. If I put this, like right now, I'm like, I can feel like I need this right now because of everything that's going on. It just feels good. Where that calcite felt like nothing. I mean, really, I didn't feel any energy from calcite at all. I have a friend that loves kyanite, wild about kyanite. Nothing. I get nothing from it. I get nothing from amethyst. I get nothing from selenite. I get nothing from, the rose quartz. I love tourmaline. So, and yet, there are people that will say, I don't get anything from it. And then there's the people that write the books that say this is what this stone is for. Where did they get that information? Where did they get that information? Who said? Who said that that stone is for grounding? If you feel like that stone is about love, then that's what the stone is to you. And that's what I'm trying to get at. Don't get so wrapped up in the books and what you see. Like all of our stones at the store, they're all labeled. It'll say rose quartz, self-love, passion, you know, blah, 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 all the love stuff, because that's what the books tell us that the stones are for. But that isn't necessarily true. Not in my opinion. So don't get wrapped up in what the books say. Get wrapped up in what you feel about the stone. And, you know, because that's what it's all about. If you don't feel it, don't use it. Keep it. I had rose quartz. I kept it. I've regifted them. I've gifted them, or not regifted. I've gifted them to people that I felt like, people that maybe were having some issues. And it was like, all of a sudden, it was like the rose quartz screaming in my ear going, hello, rose quartz. She needs me, or he needs me. And I'd be like, I have something. I think this is for you. And I would, you know, gift them the stone. So keep that in mind when you're working with your stones, playing with your stones, holding your stones, reading up on your stones. Keep an open mind. It's just my personal opinion, my humble opinion. That's how I see stones, and that's how I feel about the stones. And, you know, so that's what I have to say about stones today. So, again, we need to hang tight. We need to stick together. We need to do what we can for others during this time, and also it's very important for us to be concerned with our own self-care, because if we're not well, we certainly can't help anybody else. So stay well, and I will see you next week. Bye.